Welcome to the Wheelbarrow Profits Podcast, where you get multifamily investing made real. Learn from top players in the real estate investment world as they share their secrets with you and discover proven strategies on apartment investing that actually work. To learn more about Wheelbarrow Profits, visit jakeandgino.com, your one-stop shop for everything multifamily. Now to your hosts, Jake and Gino.
Hello, everybody. This is Jake Stenziano, host of the Wheelbarrow Profits Podcast, here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, the chef, the father of six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy, Gino Barbaro. Gino, how's it going?
Jake, I'm doing good. You like the shirt today, Jake? It's popping. 80 degrees in New York. I'm ready to go, bro.
Purple passion, brother, man. Purple passion. Today's guest is Rod Santomassimo. Rod is best-selling author, consultant, and founder of the Massimo Group, which was founded in 2008 to provide formal coaching to commercial real estate brokers. Most recently, the group has extended its reach to offer an online training platform focused on building personnel and team businesses. So without further ado, Rod, welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Hey, it's our pleasure. And let's get this thing kicked off. Tell us about your real estate background and how you got started.
You know, my dad was a consultant and owner's rep in the commercial world after being an architect. And so the first real estate job was being a gopher on a construction company, you know, being the guy who told everyone what to do and pick up the crap and just sit there and sweep and shut up. So that was my entree into commercial real estate, quite frankly. And I remember vividly when I went off to grad school over at Duke, I told my dad, I will never be in commercial real estate as long as I live. And of course, that's come back to bite me in the butt. So now I'm in my 30th year of commercial real estate, originally as a broker, owner, manager of brokerage firms, and now as the founder of a coaching enterprise focused just on commercial real estate in itself.
Now, Rod, can you break down commercial real estate? What aspect of it? Is it industrial, multifamily, or does it encompass everything?
Well, when I first started out doing commercial real estate, I was fortunate to align myself with a great mentor. And initially, we did tenant representation for the travelers, and I was the guy going across the country because I knew finance, and my father made me read a lease when I was 10 years old and understand what a lease meant. So I knew what leases meant. So my first gig was all tenant rep, but then that turned into investment sales. Because next thing we had Aetna and Travelers and a whole bunch of other insurance companies that came to this little boutique firm in Florida that I was working for. And so I got privy to all that. Now today, our clients, we have hundreds of active clients, thousands over the last 9 years, and they do every single sector from multifamily to sales to leasing to office, retail, land, mobile home parks. They do it all. They run the gamut. So we coach all commercial real estate sectors.
Before I get into the coaching, what is your favorite sector in commercial?
Well, you know, I don't have a favorite sector. My favorite sector in commercial real estate is just, I guess if I had a sector, because now I'm an investor as well, I enjoy the investment side of commercial real estate and find value-add properties, something you two obviously are the kings of, all right, and the experts. And so that's why I find the most value for me and the most fun, quite frankly.
So can you go back and tell us your first investment deal? When you first started out, do you remember that first deal that got you in the game?
My first brokerage deal, actually investing.
Investing.
Yeah, I invested with some buddies in a small multifamily opportunity, and that was scary as heck for me, I'll tell you.
Gino, you've been there before, right?
Yes.
Wait a minute, I had to get the calls at 2 a.m. if the toilet gets, it's all those concerns you have. And so you just got to start out, and there was a little cash. I think maybe it was $20,000 at the time, right? But to me, that was the world back then. So, it turned out to a pretty decent return. I said, you know what, this is fun. This is both fun. It's a little nerve-wracking, but I enjoyed it. So we continue to invest, and now I'm looking at I'm still doing more syndication deals as far as participation. And so even yesterday, I had a deal come across my table, which up in New Jersey, multifamily deal, and we're considering it. The cap rate's a little, but we're considering it.
A little skinny.
So, Rod, can I jump into your mind and tell me the difference between being a broker and being an investor? Because that's got to be really huge different paradigms, right? Because one is taking a lot of the risk and the other one is just selling it off and saying, not my problem, right?
Well, especially in my world today, I don't broker anymore, first and foremost. I haven't brokered in over 10 years since I started this company. My focus is on growing the company. But when I was a broker, initially I had the wrong approach. I think we all do initially, of focusing on our commission, right? And that's the key, where I'm getting my dollars. And I realized quickly and was taught quickly, thank goodness, by a gentleman named Bruce Lauer, focus on the client. If you serve the client well, you will do well. And that turned out to be very true. And it's true today with our clients. We serve our clients. So I think that's the issue. For me now, investment is, I got to serve my family, my wife, my kids, right? I got to make sure that we have enough wealth in there to pay for the colleges. And long after I'm gone, they're happy. So it's all about the return on investment right now, but more than anything else.
So how did you get into coaching? How did you make that shift?
I realized when I did some self-assessments, what I enjoyed the most wasn't the brokering. It wasn't the transaction part of the deal. It was actually the orchestration and facilitation and just the general management. And I really enjoyed working with people. And I think there's Adam Grant. Adam Grant is the Wharton's School of Business Teacher of the Year 4 years running. And he defines success as you're successful when you make others successful. And I believe that. So I really enjoy watching. In fact, we're just doing right now the award winners of who got all these awards across the country from their companies and associates. And we have scores of clients who are getting all these awards. And I'm thrilled to death. It makes me feel good to see that they're successful.
So let's go back to your first coaching client. How did you feel? And, how did you get him? How did you teach him? And, what was the end result of that?
Funny, he just called me yesterday, Brent Miller in Salisbury, Maryland. He was my first coaching client, and I proposed to him that I could assist him in growing his business. And I knew him from my commercial real estate days, and I shared with him what I was going to do. And he was open-minded enough to say, you know what, I could use a coach. Let's try something. I'm not going to embarrass myself by sharing with you what I charged him at the time. We'll leave that off the table. It's fair to say we don't charge those rates anymore. But,
hey, everyone's got to start somewhere, right?
That's right.
Exactly right. Everyone's got to start somewhere. So it seemed to work, and then he shared the love of the coaching experience with his colleagues, and we started doing little things better and differently. Made a lot of mistakes along the way, a lot of mistakes. And then we figured it out. And we do something different every day. So we enjoy it.
How did you learn how to coach? I mean, I went to IPEC. I became a certified professional coach through that. Not because I wanted to become a coach. I just needed the personal development at the time of my life. I was stuck. So I said, I need something. So, I mean, not many people would go to that degree. But at the same time, it was pretty cool. I learned. Where did you learn your skills to coach? Because everyone thinks you just pick up the phone and start talking to somebody. But, I mean, it's a lot of skill to it. There's empowering questions. There's setting up goals. So where did you get your knowledge and your experience?
I'm an avid reader. I read every book I can, especially on business. I'm not a big nonfiction reader. So anything to do with coaching or mentorship, I consumed. I was very fortunate. I'll say straight out, I had two fantastic mentors in the business. The first being Bruce Lauer, who's now at Cushwake. And then I had a gentleman named Jerry Anderson who really helped me along the way for about a 5-year period. And then even when we got to that point, and then I had another gentleman named Bob Corcoran who ran a coaching company in residential, something we will never do. And he actually helped me with everything to set me up and tell me what I should be thinking of and even how to do a call.
I want to jump in. Why never residential? Because that's my drum that I'm beating these days. I just want to know why never residential.
It's funny. I had a coach come up to me and say, let's start a new to business rookie program. And I said, hell no. I go, they're going to quit within 3 months. There's inconsistent cash flow. I'm not going to do it. And you know what? Now today we have a new to business program for the last 4 years because this guy's prodding. And the results have been phenomenal for these folks. So when I say never, I mean never because there are two reasons. A, respect for the gentleman who helped me, Bob Corcoran. He has a rental company. I never want to compete with him.
Gotcha.
He's a mentor. That's probably why. Also, that's not what we do. We do commercial real estate. In fact, we've been approached by lawyers and insurance companies and financial advisors. We'll stick to the white collar type of profession. I think residential is a profession. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know it, so I can't coach it.
I can give you my 2 cents. I really could care less where the view is or if it's a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I like the wood floor. I don't want to get into the emotion of it. I like the logic of it a lot more, and it's a real skill. You really have to know how to sell with emotion and close with logic, and it's really difficult when you're working for $20,000 commission and you've got to spend 6 months with a buyer dragging them around. So it just sucks the life out of you if you can't delineate. And I'm going through it because I sold my house, and my broker that I had, she did a fantastic job. Difficult buyers, and that's what I would think. What do you think, Jake?
Skin. You need a thick soul to really do the residential stuff. Right?
I like that. Not thick skin, thick soul.
It's true,
that was
man.
good.
That stuff will wear you down. But
Rod, how do you convince people? Because I think I'm up against this a lot. How do you convince people to actually invest in themselves, even a few grand? Because I come up against it. A lot of people are like, well, let me ask you a couple questions. Couple questions ain't going to get you anything. You need to really invest in yourself. How do you convince people to say, listen, I've got a great coaching program here. I want you to jump in?
Well, we've been very fortunate in that we call them members, they're Massimo members and our clients. Our members have had phenomenal results. And so that in itself, that social proof assists us greatly in our sales process. But we also, I'll just share straight out. We get coached. I invest. I have 3 coaches. One on my business, one on my marketing, and one on my sales, right? And so we're always trying to get better in the sales process. And so for our end, gentlemen, we really focus on the consultative approach versus we don't focus on features at all. Our program does the following 6, 7 things. No one's going to buy that, right? Let's look at your pain, what your pain is, to share with you how we can resolve it, where you're going. And that helps us with our conversions more than anything else.
I love that, Jake. If you're selling a Chevy, you better be driving a Chevy, right? So if you're selling coaching, you better be getting. I love that. That is awesome. Before I jump into the coaching process, let me ask you, what does it take for somebody to become really successful in the commercial space, in your opinion?
I wrote a couple of books about that, so I'll share a couple of things on that one.
Names of the books.
What are the books? Because I forgot to mention in the beginning. What are the books?
The first book I wrote, now it's 6 years ago, maybe, it was a book called Brokers Who Dominate. And Dominate, gentlemen, was an acronym, right, for the 8 traits of top producers. That's what we call it, 8 traits of top producers. So D, Dominate, was they were disciplined. Like, we know this. They're very disciplined individuals. They just are. O, we talked about earlier, is they're oriented to the client. They just are. M, they have market presence. And that's a big one. I will share with you this. As good as you are at prospecting, if you don't have a presence in the market, it's tough. It's really tough. I is industry focused, so they're specialists. There's no doubt about that. Unless you're in a tertiary market, then you're going to be more of a generalist. I understand that. And as they navigate their careers, they don't jump to, some people jump to firms for the wrong reasons. Higher commission split, their broker's an idiot, they don't like them. Acute receptionist, heck, we all did that early on, I'm sure, right? So there's reasons you should navigate your career beyond that. Okay. Jake say, no, not me.
It wasn't me, man. I didn't do it. Well, no.
Okay, A is assertive. We actually do personality profiles for our clients, and I'll share with you what those 4 traits are in a second. We find that top producers are naturally assertive. T is team-oriented, and E obviously is entrepreneurial. They run their business like a business. They're not employees, but that's it. Now, if I can expand on that, we did find we actually assessed the natural behaviors of producers, thousands of producers, and figure out the top producing profile. There is an actual profile of natural behaviors for top producers. Doesn't mean if you don't fit the suit, you can't make millions. That's not it. We just have to work on certain issues, certain challenges. But top producers, 4 traits, they're very assertive, not surprised there. They're medium social. They're not going to be the ones with their shirt off in a bar and karaoke. They're not, right? But they're not going to be a wallflower in the corner. But they're medium social. They can go either way. They're relatively very impatient. They're low calm. We know that. And as far as structure is concerned, organization structure, they don't have it. They just don't. And that's why teams are so important to address those issues that we need to know to move them forward.
That's the Pareto's law, Jake. It's 80-20. That's why 20% of them do 80% of the business, because there aren't that many guys that fit that profile. It's a difficult profile, being impatient, yet being a little reserved, but being able to network really, really well. We know a couple brokers that fit that profile. And weird enough, they're the top brokers in Knoxville, right, Jake? It's pretty amazing how that is, isn't it?
There you go.
Focused.
There you go.
Focused on the niche.
Wow.
Yep.
So once you started your coaching program, give me a sense of the structure of how you start, how you get your avatar, the persona that you're trying to go after, and how do you get him into the program, and just give me some steps of what the program looks like.
Yeah, sure. We actually have 3 avatars. The first one is that new to business. I know I shied away from that earlier. Is that new to business, just trying to break out, get a strong start to their career, don't know where to start. So we have a program for them that's, without getting too much of the features, it's a 6-month program on a weekly basis, but that's a group coaching program. Peter Feelstuck. There are a lot of Peter Feelstucks out there, right? So they're mid-career, maybe seasoned veteran. What they used to do in the old days, it ain't working anymore. It just simply isn't. I remember one gentleman called me, and I asked him, why are you calling? And his exact words were, those damn kids are taking my market share.
That was Peter Feelstuck?
That was Peter Feelstuck, right? So they're doing that tweet thing and that face look thing. I think he said, he said, things I'm smarter, I'm better, yeah, but the market shifted. So that Peter Feelstuck, that's one of our key avatars. And our last third avatar, and I love that word you use, by the way, because that's exactly the language we use as well, even with our members going into their avatars, is Bob Topper. Bob Topper is making all the money, but doesn't have margin in his life, doesn't see his family, doesn't vacation as he should, right? So those 3 avatars certainly need 3 different messages that they just do from a marketing perspective. I will share with you that we have now heavily invested in Facebook advertising. And I know a lot of you want to say, well, that's for kids. I will let you know that our majority of our responders are males between the age of 45 and 55 on Facebook. So if you don't think that's where your audience is, I say you better think again.
It's really funny that you're talking about all this, because you're talking about me and Jake. Jake was much younger than me. Me, my early 40s, I was stuck too. And the thing is, I think people have to get into life coaching. Let me pitch life coaching for a minute, because it's all about the why. If you figure out your why, you'll figure out your how. And I really didn't know why I was unfulfilled. The job was okay. I just was just like, there's got to be more. The 6 levels of human needs. Fundamental needs. We have 4. The first 4 we have, right? The 5th and 6th are growth and contribution. And that's why people are coming to you at 45 years old, because you know what? They're probably comfortable in their lives, but they're too comfortable and they're bored, and they need to get that extra, juice going. So I like the way you break them down to 3 different avatars, because we're all different. But in the end of the day, I think we're all striving for the same thing, is to be significant in life and actually to I guess leave this place better than when we found it. I think ultimately, the average person, that's what they're looking for, but they can't convey that into words. And I'm glad that you set that company up 9 years ago, and now you're empowering people to do that. That's an awesome goal, ideal to do that.
Well, Gino, thank you. I heard a little Simon Sinek in your wide approach, though. That was great.
He awesome book.
Awesome book.
Did you see the video? He had a video on Facebook. About talking about millennials and all. What an awesome video that was, where he went on for 10 minutes, and he wasn't lambasting them, but basically what you talked about with your gentleman who was old, how those young kids are getting market share. That's an external block. He's got everything internal going on. He's blaming the economy. He's blaming the kids. He's not taking responsibility, and that's the problem, I think, with the majority of people. We don't take responsibility for our actions. The guy should continue to educate himself and to learn. It's not about the technology. Those skills are still viable. Your sales skills are still viable. You just need to reach people in a different medium.
He stopped.
Couldn't agree more, Gino. Absolutely correct.
Go ahead, Jake. I see you want to chime in.
No. I just said he stopped growing. It's always like, if you don't adapt, you die, right? So as things change, if you're not willing to get uncomfortable and grow, then you're going to start becoming irrelevant. It's unfortunate what happens to some people when they resist change. So.
And if I could add on to that, I was showing this top producer in the world in multifamily brokerage. He actually wrote a piece in the Commercial Observer New York last week. His name is Bob Knackel. I can share that with you. He said we're coming at the golden age of commercial brokerage right now, and that in the next 20 years, we're going to be vastly different. And I agree. To your Pareto principle of 80-20, Gino, the theory is that's going to turn quickly into 90-10. Technology is just going to squeeze out, because anyone now can do more deals over a given period of time. There's not more transactions today than there were. By the way, there aren't more transactions today than there were any decade before. That's incorrect, right? It's not like the velocity has increased more and more. No. But the capacity to do more deals has increased for the individual, and therefore the brokerage arena will have a dramatic shift with those technologies happening lately.
I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to talk about that. That's a great point. Where else do you see disruption in this market? Because we did something with a gentleman named Darren Powerley from CrowdStreet, private equity company, and they're raising private funds online, which is awesome. We're thinking of, once we start syndicating, to use that platform. Where else do you see? Because it seems like an old man's club. It's hard to break in. CoStar and Yardi, they're charging so much money for all that data, for all that information. When is that open source? When is that going to happen? Because you can see it on Zillow. It's happened in the residential aspect of it. When is it going to happen in commercial? When do you see it happening?
Well, as we all know, some of those businesses you mentioned, without even saying specifically, their business models to sue everyone else. But Xceligent's made nice strides in finding their niche, compete against the co-stars. Certainly there are more, this new platform, 10X, seems to have a little of a niche working that makes that deal facilitation, integration, management there as well. That I realize they have a buyer fee, which would be counterproductive to the transaction, but it seems to be working. Technology, and if you follow CRE Tech, which is probably the leading platform right now for commercial real estate technology, you're seeing a new program platform provider every single day arise, and you're saying, well, that's a great idea. But the issue is that, again, the disruption has started, and majority of the commercial brokers haven't yet even recognized there's a wave coming. And there is. Beyond the market wave, we all know it's coming. We're in the 9th year of this recovery. It's going to come. I think it's 2018 personally, but it's going to come. They just still haven't picked their heads up and said, okay, what's happening? So it's going to come. It's going to hit some people really hard, just like it hit in 2008. Hit a lot of people really hard from the broker's perspective.
So how are you getting your clients prepared for that market correction? We have to get them to adapt to technology.
They have to. Number two is they have to make sure they're the market leaders regardless of where the market goes, and that starts with their personal presence in the marketplace, getting known. There's certain things we do with our clients to make sure they're positioned as the market leader. So when the market shifts, they're there. Content pieces, accepting social media, accepting Facebook, accepting that they have to produce content, right? Or we produce it for them. That's where you have to be.
I like that. As far as that, talk to me about your sales process. How do you convince somebody to coach with you? Say, hey, listen, you need to do this.
Well, we talked about a little bit earlier, Gino. We do have a sales process that's, I guess, there's direct calling. We have a sales team that calls brokers across North America and introduces the Massimo Group. We have a pretty good reputation in the marketplace as far as we are the most established coaching organization in our niche. Every other coaching organization is one person who coaches 20 people. That's not what we do. So I think we're known. Our coaches are known. That helps. We do a lot of marketing. I remember a gentleman, and you said you were in New York. You're in New York. Is that correct, Gino?
Yes.
So where in New York are you?
I am in Putnam County. It's about an hour north of Manhattan.
Okay. So in Manhattan, there's a construction company. The biggest one, one of the biggest ones in New York is called Siami, Sciame, Siami, owned by Frank Siami, who just by pure luck of the draw is a family friend. He's a billionaire now, or whatever. But I remember him sharing with me, and by the way, when I was doing that gopher work in the bank and sweeping floors, it was on a Siami project. So I remember him sharing with me, Rod, the most important thing you could do when things go bad is market the hell out of yourself. That's the most important thing you could do. So in 2008, when things were really bad and no one had money for a coach, we spent all our money on marketing the company. That's all we did. And ever since then, our beyond our personnel costs, our biggest cost is marketing. No doubt about it. And now with hey guys, I couldn't spell Facebook a year ago. I first admit to you. I didn't know even what it was, except for hanging out. If I was single, ever became single, I could find a girl. I don't know what it was. So, but hopefully that will never be the case and my wife will keep me. But now I recognize, wow, what great there's opportunities are out there and a variety of platforms. We tweet, we do LinkedIn. By the way, LinkedIn, I have a LinkedIn coach. There's another coach I have, guys. I have a LinkedIn coach. I just hired one. And the results after 2 weeks have been incrementally significant in regards to the requests we're getting for consults. We drive everyone, Gino, to a consult. And that consult then creates the pain or the challenge, and the people have to make a quick decision, yes or no. And within 2 weeks, they're either with us or they're not, and we move forward.
There's 2 points that I like to make that Rod, you made were excellent. The first one is that's the rich dad model. When everyone is tightening up, they're expanding and selling. Grant Cardone says that all the time, and it's scary because your first inclination is to pull back and to scale down. But you guys who are really super successful just want to spend money and get yourself out there because everyone's going away, and you're the ones that are out there. And there's still people doing business, right? You think 2008 everyone went bankrupt? That's not true. There's a lot of people still making millions of dollars out there, and
yes.
That's awesome. What do you look for in a coach? When you hire a coach, you have somebody on. What are the attributes? What are the skill sets that you're looking for?
Yeah, we actually have a personality assessment for a coach as well. We do. but the personality assessment is only one of a variety of factors. Absolutely, they have to be a cultural fit. We are a virtual company. My 25 coaches are located across North America. In fact, my support team of sales, marketing, my EVPs in Kentucky. So Jake, he's close to you, right? So EVPs in Kentucky. My sales are one's in Florida, one's in Raleigh. I never see them physically, just digitally. So for us, when it comes to a coach, they have to fit our culture. We get together physically once a year and have a great time somewhere. But they had to fit our culture. They had to be, from a coach perspective, assertive. So they had to push their clients, but not overly assertive where they're going to aggravate their clients, because every client's a little different. They have to be socially in between. They can't be a wallflower. It just won't work for us. It just won't. They have to be calm. Unlike brokers, they have to be a little more calm than the average broker. And they have to be somewhat more structured and from an organizational standpoint than compared to an average top producing broker, because there is some structure in what we do. Beyond that, I love looking at CCIMs, SAORs. Designations are key to me. It shows they're professionals. Age doesn't bother me. We have some young brokers. I think we have one broker in their 30s. Coach in their 30s. And that's great. They do very well because they've been successful for 10, 15 years. But most of our folks are seasoned veterans.
Do you see that a lot of your coaches coach full time? They leave the space and just decide to coach full time, or do they keep both going on?
That's the beauty of what we do. All our coaches are active brokers, so unlike me, so all our coaches can actually relate to their clients and discuss specific deal points and relevance that I cannot do.
That's great that you say that, because a lot of people, when they contact Jake and I, they want to know that we're doing it, that we're actually in the business, and it's important. A lot of guys are selling education and training from 20 years ago, and it's not working in this market. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's really important. You had mentioned culture. Well, can you define the culture of your business and your company?
Yeah, it's based on a couple of things. Number one, our vision. The word Massimo. People think I named the company Massimo because my last name is Santomassimo. Now you're both now. Gino, you're an Italian boy, right? So
I'm speaking to the greatest saint right now, so I know. So
you got it. Okay, you got it. There you go. You're right, Gino. There you go. Perfect. Yes. So Santomassimo means the great saint, and my mother believes it, which is all that really matters. So
you got a lot to live. You got a lot to live up to, my friend. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So Massimo is a superlative. It means a maximum. So when we look at that, we say, okay, let's call the company Massimo for a couple of reasons. We want to make sure that our members, clients, achieve the greatest level of service possible, right? And so we don't have clerks. Clerks are for customers, right? We don't have point of contacts. That's for clients. We have concierge service. So our concierge to take care of our members. We want a great experience. Number two, we want to make sure that they maximize their return, right? If they're going to invest the significant money they do for our coaching, they got to see a return. And fortunately, as of the last 2 years running, our clients are averaging 7x the industry average. And that 7x is really critical because it actually excludes our clients that are making more than $3 million a year, because you add those and then the number gets ridiculous and no one believes us. So that's one as well. And then from just a pure standpoint of, so we have the greatest customer experience, maximum return, and we get the most out of the actual engagement. And that means beyond the money, what can we do to position them that when they leave us, and many leave us after a year or two, say, I got it, I figured it out, which is great. They continue to make money again and again and again, year after year, and it pays dividends on their investment. So that's how we structured the company and the culture around Massimo. And everyone knows, look, we all make mistakes. And we have coaches that have made mistakes. I've made a mistake. In fact, talking about marketing, this is a true story, gentlemen. My first marketing piece ever at Massimo was this. If you retain the Massimo group, your practice will soar. I spelled soar, S-O-U-R. Okay?
So that one worked, though, for whatever reason, right? It was like that reverse mindset.
But here's the funny thing. My father, rest in peace, I lost him last past July, but my father called me immediately and said, hey, Rocket was my nickname in college. Hey, Rocket, you may want to change that ad.
Wow.
Hey,
but Jake, you're
you
right.
Made it.
We had people call us from that ad saying, I want to talk about your coaching.
It's crazy.
That's great. So you started 9 years ago this whole journey. How have you, Jake loves this question, how have you been able to scale your business and, add team members and just scale the business itself?
Yeah, I live by one golden rule, and I learned this rule through books, okay? It wasn't written this way, but I live my rule, and we share our clients this golden rule. Just because you can do something better and faster, it will not make you wealthier. Just got to always remember that, right? Just because you do something better and faster. So a lot of clients say, I can do it better. No one can do better than me. It's taking 5 minutes, right? And that sounds great. So what I said was, you know what? What am I currently doing that I'm not really good at, number one, that I think I'm good at but doesn't make me money? So, for example, I love doing pivot tables in Excel. I'm one of anal guys. And I think it's really cool, the relationships you can see in a pivot table analysis. That doesn't make me money, right? The findings make me money. So just the other day, I hired someone in Buenos Aires through Upwork. Use a lot of Upwork, guys, Upwork.com. And he did some pivot table analysis for me, give me the results. Great, I can do it, right? So from my perspective, hire as fast as you can people that are smarter than you. And I will say this. My sales guys are much, much better than I am in sales. My marketing girl, Helen, I can't even touch her. My coaches, I don't say they're better coaches than me. I'll never say that, but they're really good coaches. My admin, my concierge, they're all much better than me. And that's so if you surround yourself with smarter people, pay them fairly, right? But let's be honest. You gentlemen, you're probably worth at least $300, $400, $500 an hour, if not $1,000 or more dollars an hour. That's what you're worth. I put myself in that position as well. So why am I doing work I could pay someone $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour when I should be making $500 to $1,000 or more an hour? That's just how I look at things. And by the way, all top producers in brokerage, they follow that rule insistently. They will not. Some of my guys, they have drivers. Some guys have, personal chefs. Some of the girls have, they don't never do their wash or dry cleaning or cooking because they don't make money. That's why. A little extreme in some cases, but that's the rule I follow.
Rod, you touched a nerve with me because that's what pushed me out of the restaurant. I was doing $15 an hour washing dishes because the guy couldn't come. And I'm in the shed. That's my inflection point. I was in the shed one day with Jake putting stuff away, and we're trying to negotiate an $11 million deal. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm putting away these tins, and I'm trying to – it's just like it didn't make any sense to me, and it hit. And it's just a fear factor. I think people have to get over that fear of doing something new or something different. It's comfortable washing dishes. It's an easy job. It's mindless. But at the end of the day, like you said, you're not generating any kind of revenue, and that's not what we're here for. We're not here to waste time. We're here to generate revenue and to better our lives. So I'm glad you said that because that just hit a nerve right now. You just get that flashback sitting there washing pots and pans, and I'm like, oh, what am I doing here,
No, it was the same thing with me when Jim Clayton was picking on me for mowing the lawn. I love mowing the lawn, right? But sometimes you don't have enough time, so I'm like, I got to sub this out now, just on my own house. I do it every once in a while still just because I really enjoy it. But on a weekly basis, those 2-3 hours, whatever I was spending, I could be making a lot more money, and it's $40 to get the lawn mowed. So it's just kind of silly, for me to be doing that. It never pays me back.
Well, yeah, Jake, I agree with you, and I will tell you, I love when I make the lines around the mulch beds, and the lawn looks so sweet.
Yeah. Nobody mows the lawn like I mow the lawn, okay? So that's the first thing you got to understand. But
boy.
But back to Gino's point, Jake, there is some level of self-actualization when you mow the lawn and you feel proud. I'm not saying take that away. That's not the point, right? You're going to do those things. Just if you can just evaluate.
But it was holding me back from doing other things because it's a big time suck. So when I do it now when I want to do it, and then the rest of the time let the guys handle it. So
That's right.
yeah.
Rod, before I ask you the best investing tip, do you have any other websites like Upwork? We use CrowdSpring. Do you use any other websites to run your business?
On the business side, I'll tell you, my two favorite ones lately have been Upwork. Absolutely. Of all the virtual assistant outsourcing sites, I love that one because you escrow the money, you get to rate the person, it's safe, and the quality of talent. That came, by the way, from one book called The 4-Hour Work Week. You all read that one with Tim Ferriss, right? Mm-hmm. He promoted Elance. Elance got bought by Upwork. So that was certainly one there. I love rev.com, rev.com. So, for example, if you guys want to take this audio and upload it to Rev, they'll get you a transcript within 24 hours at a very fair price. We do a lot of that work. I do a lot of work where I'm just, instead of writing, I will dictate and get that to Rev. So that helps me a great deal. I think another one I'm using, as a CCIM, I'm a CCIM. I do a lot of work on site to do business, just goes from an analysis and looking and tracking. That helps me a great deal. They have some great tools along the way. So those are three I probably from business side. Now, with that said, we are so integrated technically in our company. We based our company on Infusionsoft, which I know some people call it Confusionsoft. Mm-hmm. But again, if you hire the right people and hire a coach, it makes it easy.
That's great. I think what you just spoke about right there is the disruption in the economy itself. We're talking about disruption in commercial. People don't understand that these jobs are not coming back. And if you want to get to that 10%, you've got to start using these companies. Because with CrowdSpring, you can get a brand for $500 instead of going out to a guy here and spending $3,000 or $4,000. You can get for 1/6 the price, and they do great work. There's you're getting 50 or 60 bids to get one brand done. So I think you have to embrace it. You can't.
Well, tell me hold on, Gina. Now you got me interested. So what exactly is
it's like 99 Designs. There you go on and you actually, Jake and I got the RAND logo, our site. You just go out there, you give them an idea of what you want, and bam, all of a sudden you get 50 or 60 people bidding on it, depending on how much you want to pay. And you go on there and they do some quality work. You get a lot of guys, and they're from all over the world, wherever you want to look at it. So I know another one that I was using Fiverr also, Fiverr. I was using them also for a little while.
Yep.
Those two are the main ones. We were lucky. We found somebody remotely in overseas doing our design work and stuff. Same kind of VA, and it works great. The prices are great, but the quality of work is great too. You pay them incrementally a little bit more. I know a lot of people like to use VAs from the Philippines. They pay them $5-6 an hour, and you're like, and these guys have master's degrees, but for them, it's a lot of money for them. And I think people have to get over that hump of working remotely. That's just the way it's going to be nowadays. You're not going to be face-to-face anymore, and you have to get over that block.
Face-to-face?
This is face-to-face. You're right, Jake. But let me share with you a quick story, maybe your listeners. So here's an example. When I started the company in 2008, this is true. I wanted to find how to start soliciting to brokers. So I just looked at all the brokerage firms in the United States, and I don't know why I picked this, guys. I picked NAI. Don't know why I did, but I did. I said, okay, I need every single email an NAI broker has, the thousands of emails. So I had three choices, right? I do it, my wife does it, or I outsource it. Now, I don't know if any of you gentlemen are married, but option two should not even be an option, right? So if you want to stay married, you keep that off the table. So I said, okay, either I do it or I outsource it. True story. Went to elancebackthen.com. I said, okay, I need every email purged. And I gave them the exact steps. You got to do this when you outsource. Gave the exact steps to purge every email. And I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, true story, and I had 1,200 emails of brokers in my inbox. And so now if I did it myself, that would take me months, let's face it. So it's the first time I really tried it. Wow, that was amazing.
That's great.
So Jake, how much did that cost me? $100? $83.
That is awesome. That's amazing.
Gino, I'm overpaying already.
And you know what? You're still married. That's great. You're still married. That's not bad, huh?
And that was 9 years ago. And you're right, Gino. These are educated individuals. I mean, in India, in this case, they're all college degrees. It was great work. But you just for your audience, you have to understand this is the way the world works. A, it's available. B, you're not taking away American jobs. I don't go with that one on that one.
I don't know anybody in America can do that personally.
Excuse me?
I don't know any American personally that can do that anyway, so.
No. And the thing is, he has a crowd of people looking up, doing research for you.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, they're going to resell your stuff. They're going to repackage it and resell it, steal it, maybe, I don't know. But that's just the nature of the beast of working overseas. You can't do anything about it. But for $83, I was okay with that.
Wow. So let me ask you, what is your best advice or tip for the real estate listener out there?
Yeah, I would go back to, I don't know if you will listen to Gary Vee. Listen to Gary Vee at all?
Mm-hmm. Jake's the disciple. Jake's his disciple. He loves Gary Vee. Yes.
Take away the F-bombs, and I really enjoy Gary Vee. I really do. And I agree with him on this. It's patience. Just patience. Everyone's in such a rush now to become successful. It doesn't work that way. You got to work your ass off, number one. You just do. I've gotten to the point where the 9 years of working my ass off, I finally got some margin in my life, which is a good place to be. But at the same time, you got to be patient. Things will come around. If I had a second thing, I'd say, look, not from my perspective, get a coach. Yeah, go ahead and hire the Mossimo Group. That's not it. I have 3 coaches full-time, and I have part-time coaches I retain all the time. I got to learn. Jake said it earlier, right? If you're not growing, what the hell are you doing? So
you get rolled by 20-year-olds, running Facebook, right? So.
Well, that's a great point, Jake. My mentor in Facebook, and I'll give his great kid, Maxwell Finn. He's all over Facebook. He's probably 24, 25. Why would I hire an old guy to teach me Facebook? Really? No.
The biggest thing we actually missed about coaching, we should have mentioned this, is the accountability. I think the accountability factor with what you bring to the table, you make your clients accountable. And to set up a plan, and even if you don't teach them anything, but if you give them steps, within 2 weeks, people, I always say, are willing to do more for you than they are for themselves. So we get on the call with somebody 2 weeks later, and we give them these steps to do. It gets done, and it's amazing how that is. And people don't understand that. They underappreciate that. They meander. But if you can sit down with somebody and put structure in their life and get them going forward, and just be, I guess, a coach and a role model for them, and say, hey, listen, like you just said, it's not easy. We've been doing the education for 2 years, and finally we're seeing a little bit of crack. You've got to get out there every day. Jake likes to say the word grind. I don't like the word grind because it denotes pain and suffering, but it really, if you like what you're doing, you have that massive transformative purpose. It's not a grind, but at the same time, you've got to put a lot of work day in and day out. And you see these little incremental things happening, and we have to enjoy them and appreciate them. It's that climb of the mountain. We always think about getting on top of that mountain, but we have to enjoy the climb. And as you get older, you realize the climb is where you see the success. Top of the mountain is the achievement.
I could not agree more. My second favorite line, if doing just because you're doing faster, better won't make you wealthier, then my second favorite line that we use, and I use all the time, in fact, I use it today to a client, was knowing is not doing. So I don't want to hear, yeah, I know that, or, I got that already. Are you doing it? Hell no. Right? Mm-hmm. So don't tell me what you know. Show me what you do. And that's going to make the difference of how far and how fast we go.
I agree with that.
On the personal success side of things, what is your best daily habit for success?
I prep every day. Every single day I prep. There's no doubt about it. At the end of the day, every day, there's 2 things that have to happen to me. Number one, there are 0 messages in my inbox. 0, right? And there's a lot of theories to email, but I've gotten to the point now I can quickly get through email and have 0 inbox. No guilt, no taking it home, no on the phone stuff. So I prepare every day before I leave the office to have 0 inbox, 0 tasks, and say exactly the next day, I know exactly what I have to do. And it's just written clearly. Here are my 3 top goals. Here's some of my tasks. Here's my calendar. Here's all my white space to have free time and write. So every day I prepare. Every single day I prepare.
It's focus, baby.
It's focus.
It's focus. Right.
Focus up, baby. So you said you're a big reader. What is the book that you'd recommend to the listeners that was really just a personal growth book that made a difference in your life?
Well, certainly of all the books, the number 1 book I would say without a doubt was Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Revisited. Sarah the pie maker and trying to expand her pie shop.
Maker, yep.
Her pie, right? So, and right, we have the technician, we have the mechanic, all these folks, and so that opened my eyes. Say, oh my! And now I'll share with you this. My coach forced me to read it, and he went through it with me, and he made sure I read it. Right? So then that really opened my eyes. Now, I'll say this also. My favorite line from any book, there's a book by Jack Daly called Hyper Sales Growth. And my rule of thumb, by the way, gentlemen, is every book I read, if I can get one sentence out of that book, it was worth the read. Is that one sentence? So Tim Ferriss, elance.com, changed my life. It just, him selling widgets, hanging out in the hammock on the internet, that had nothing to do with me, but that one sentence changed my life. There's a sentence in that book, Hyper Sales Growth by Jack Daly, simply says this: if you do not have an assistant, you are one. And you encapsulate that to what that means, and that changes your life. It just does. So go, build your team, hire your assistants. So long answer, E-Myth Revisited, Michael Gerber, great book. There's so many great books out there now. It's amazing how many fantastic books out there.
The problem with Michael Gerber's book is it really hits home, because if you really see how dumb you're doing things, like, wow, that technician, I'm the technician. I am, it's just like it resonates with you if you're ready to receive it. If you're too young in your career and you have a little much too ego going on, you'll be like, this guy knows what he's talking about. But when you get older in life, you say to yourself, wow, I'm the guy washing the dishes. I'm the one who's being the grunt. I'm not the guy who's actually growing the business. You're working, what is it, on your business, not in your business. It was just
there you go.
It was enlightening to me. I'm like, wow, I'm doing what the heck this guy's saying. And it might take a couple reads. And I say people should read those books, that Michael Gerber and Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Read them once a year, because every year you read them, new lights get shed, and you just start seeing things as you get older. And it's like, wow, I can't believe I was that guy, right?
Right.
Did you read Traction?
That's great. You nailed that, Gino. You nailed it. On, not in.
Did you read Traction?
Yes, I did read Traction.
I like
Traction
as well.
That was the iOS approach, the Traction book?
EOS. Entrepreneurial
approach.
Operating Systems.
I just read The 4 Disciplines of Execution by Covey and McKenzie.
Yeah.
Really, really strong book there as well. I did pick up Ferriss's new book, Titans book.
Tools of Titans. I haven't read that yet. It's like,
no, it's too big.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. I see that. It's like, War and Peace kind of looking. That's what it looks like to me.
Right.
So this guy's an Atlas Rand guy, whatever. His book, whatever. The book is like, big. I'm scared to even look at the book. I don't even want to touch it. It's too big.
I'm gonna pick it up. You're right.
Just do it. Don't be afraid. Hey, we got one more for you here. What project are you excited about right now?
We have just. I look at things and always say, okay, it's working, but what can we do better? I mean, that's just it's ingrained in me, and I know it upsets my team a great deal when I do this. So it's what I do. So we have a very good coaching program in the last 8 years, and in hindsight, like Gino just referred to, I revisit the program, the book, and I said, oh my God, this is terrible. And even though it's working and our clients are thrilled, it's terrible. We need to restructure everything. So what we've done the last 6 months is we've completely restructured our coaching platform. It's now look, you can pick up your phone, right, and watch it on your phone. It's now mobile, it's videos, it's exercises. And so in the past, I'm ashamed to say this, in the past our coaching was more about working with the client, presenting them ideas and getting them to do those things, but wasn't enough implementation. Now it's all about implementation. The client does everything offline. We make them do it. Again, knowing isn't doing. I'm driving that home. So right now, Jake, for me, we've redesigned our computer platform. But the next big thing for us, and this is I'm mostly excited about, is taking that same approach, because we've been approached by a lot of people lately, taking it internationally. I've got some opportunities there, take it internationally. And secondly, take it outside of commercial real estate, which really is where my vision is in 2018, in some, maybe the latter end, we will start offering our services to non-commercial real estate brokers, financial advisors, insurance, title companies, law, doctors. We'll have a platform for that as well. That's what's driving me right now really hard.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So people that are interested in your services and your business, what's the best way for them to get a hold of the group?
Massimo, Massimo -group.com is our main site. Really quick, shorter link is crecoach.com. That'll take them to find out about us as well. But we coach every gambit of commercial real estate professionals, from new to business to the highest producers in the world. We have one producer that made $20 million last year. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But this is great. You guys, I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. You too. I've done a lot of podcasts, and not to disgrade anyone, but this was fun. This was a ball.
Hey.
Well, we learned a lot. I love speaking to guys who are in the coaching space and can actually talk about it and actually give reasons why. And I love the fact that you have multiple coaches. I'm not there yet. I'm actually doing a financial coach training with Dave Ramsey because I want to get into the financial aspects of it. You just be able to teach my kids about it and give people the model and get your financial house in order. So I'm sort of going the same way you are. And I think it's important that people all get a coach.
Get a coach.
So...
Guys, this has been great, and for the listeners out there, if you found value in the episode and you're on the iTunes, please subscribe, give us a like, give us a review. We really appreciate it. Thank you for making the Wheelbarrow Profits Podcast the #1 multifamily podcast on iTunes. Hey, it's been great today. Thank you so much for your time, and
Rod,
we're going to check out the Massimo Group as well, right?
Yep. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
We trust that you enjoy the Wheelbarrow Profits podcast. Visit jakeandgino.com, your one-stop shop for everything multifamily. See you next time when Jake and Gino share more of their investing secrets with you.